Take a moment and look around you. You have light. You have a phone in your hand or a fan turning above your head. Now I want you to imagine something completely different. Just 7 decades ago, in a vast and scorching stretch of Arabian desert, there existed a place with nothing. No power lines. No running water. No paved roads. No buildings to speak of. Only endless sand, slow-moving camels, punishing heat, and a quiet, stubborn hope. Today, that very place carries the name Dubai, a glittering city of towers made of glass and gold, where flying taxis cut through the sky and the world's wealthiest people gather to spend, invest, and build their lives. A place where the impossible feels ordinary. So how did it happen? How did a humble desert settlement, one that had no oil in its early years, transform into one of the most extravagant, forward-thinking, and admired cities on the planet? Was it pure fortune? Was it petroleum? No. It was something deeper. It was a clarity of vision. It was courageous leadership. It was a willingness to gamble everything. It was the unshakable conviction that even a wasteland could be turned into paradise. In this video, I'm going to walk you through that entire journey. We'll begin when Dubai's residents slept beneath the shade of palm trees. We'll pass through the era when its pearl trade crumbled, leaving people with empty hands and empty hopes. We'll reach the moment a small oil discovery changed the math, but not as much as you might expect. And we'll arrive at the spectacular, towering, record-breaking metropolis that stuns the world today. This isn't merely a history lecture. This is the story of an impossible transformation. One of the most dramatic reinventions any place on Earth has ever undergone. And along the way, you'll sharpen your English, because the best way to learn a language is to get lost in a great story. So settle in and listen closely. What you're about to hear will catch you off guard, and it just might change how you think about your own possibilities. Let's begin. Part 1. Surviving the Sand. Before the towers, before the Burj Khalifa pierced the clouds, before a drop of oil was pumped from the ground, there was only desert. We travel back to the early 1800s. The stretch of coastline now called Dubai was little more than a modest fishing settlement perched beside the Persian Gulf. Its most significant geographic feature was a natural water inlet, Dubai Creek, and it was the sole reason anyone lived there at all. The people of this place were tough and unadorned. They came mostly from the Bani Yas tribe and lived under the guidance of a chief named Sheikh Makdum bin Budi. In 1833, a pivotal moment arrived. Sheikh Makdum led approximately 800 of his tribal members away from Abu Dhabi and planted roots beside the creek. They were seeking something simple: the freedom to trade, to live in peace, to build something of their own. And with that migration, Dubai's story quietly began. But daily life was brutal. The heat could break a person. Clean water was precious and difficult to reach. People dug wells by hand or made exhausting journeys on foot to find water sources. Their homes were woven from palm fronds, simple structures called arish. There were no paved paths, no learning institutions, no medical facilities. Camels carried both people and cargo. The diet was basic: fish caught from the sea, dates from the palms, milk drawn from camels. So what kept this society breathing? 2 lifelines. First, pearl diving. Second, maritime trade. Before oil reshaped the Gulf, pearls were Dubai's most precious resource. Divers would plunge into the sea for entire months. No breathing equipment, no safety nets. They trained their lungs to hold air for extraordinary stretches, descending into the dark water to pry open oysters from the seabed, praying to surface with something valuable. It was a brutal way to earn a living. Some men never returned, but it was the only door open to prosperity. Dubai's pearls were shipped to traders in India, Persia, and across Europe. For a window of time, the business brought a measure of wealth to the community. Then the ground shifted. In the 1930s, Japanese engineers figured out how to cultivate artificial pearls in controlled conditions. The natural pearl market went cold almost overnight. Buyers disappeared. Dubai's pearl merchants had nothing left to sell. The Great Depression was spreading misery across the world simultaneously. Dubai's economic footing crumbled entirely. Parents struggled to feed their families. Children went without education. Women cooked over open wood fires and walked long distances to collect water. No doctors. No electricity. No oil. Nothing to fall back on. But Dubai Creek was still there. and the descendants of Sheikh Maktoum stared at it with a determined question in their minds. If we can no longer live from the sea's pearls, perhaps we can live from what passes through it. Slowly, that creek became a center of commerce. Despite having almost no material advantages, Dubai welcomed traders from India, Iran, East Africa, and as far as Europe. The reason they kept arriving was simple. Dubai's leadership imposed no taxes, no complicated regulations, no bureaucratic barriers, just the freedom to trade. The world, bit by bit, began to take notice. In 1892, Dubai formalized an arrangement with the British Empire. In exchange for military protection from pirates and rival powers, Dubai agreed not to form political alliances with other foreign states. It was a calculated, strategic move. Stability arrived, and Dubai's rulers showed, even then, that they were thinkers playing a very long game. Then came a man who would quietly redesign everything. His name was Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum. Born in 1912, the son of Dubai's ruling sheikh, Rashid had a quality that set him apart from his peers. While others catalogued their hardships and complained about circumstances, Rashid would spend hours sitting beside Dubai Creek, watching cargo boats arrive, mentally sketching a different version of the future. He carried one belief at his core: we may have no oil, but we have ideas. If we lay the foundation, the world will find its way to us. And he set about doing exactly that. Dubai in the 1940s was still a trading outpost. The British were pulling back their support. People lived in palm frond shelters and mud brick homes. The streets were sand. There was no mechanical cooling, no motorized vehicles, no production of any kind. Sheikh Rashid looked at all of this and made a decision. He would not wait. He would not sit still hoping something valuable would emerge from the ground. He would manufacture opportunity with the tools available. His first test came when Dubai Creek began to silt up. The channel was narrowing, becoming too shallow for larger ships. Merchants were redirecting their routes away from Dubai. The advice from many quarters was to accept it. There was simply no money to solve the problem. Sheikh Rashid refused. He borrowed funds from Kuwait and commissioned the dredging of the creek, deepening and widening it so that heavy cargo vessels could pass freely into the heart of the city. It was a gamble. If trade didn't respond, the debt would have swallowed Dubai whole. It worked. Large ships from India, from the African coasts, from Iran began docking in Dubai again. Trade volumes jumped. Merchants who had left returned. The city's pulse grew stronger. That single infrastructure decision was arguably the moment Dubai chose its destiny. From there, Sheikh Rashid built methodically. Laborers carved roads from sand by hand. Schools opened their doors, first for boys, then expanded. A hospital was constructed, reducing the deaths of mothers and newborns that had been commonplace. Electric lines were strung. Piped water was introduced. Foreign engineers were invited to contribute expertise. Every project was designed not for the immediate moment, but for a future that didn't yet exist. Sheikh Rashid built like a man who knew prosperity was inevitable, even when his treasury said otherwise. Life during this period, even as changes unfolded, remained deeply simple. Homes were mud brick or woven palm. White robes, kanduras, were the everyday clothing for men. Women wore long black abayas. In summer, families relocated to rooftops at night to find relief from the trapped heat. Clay pots collected water from deep wells. Meals were dates, dried fish, and camel's milk. Community life revolved around the mosque, the market, and the majlis, a gathering space where men debated, planned, and told stories. Yet people carried hope, because they could see with their own eyes that their leader was constructing something that didn't yet have a name. Then, in 1966, deep below the seafloor off Dubai's coastline, oil was discovered. A field called the Fateh oil field. But here's the detail that changes the narrative. Dubai's oil reserves were not large. Compared to its neighbor Abu Dhabi, they were modest. Other emirates quietly laughed. Dubai has only droplets, they said. What will that accomplish? Sheikh Rashid took those droplets and turned them into leverage. He didn't construct ornate palaces. He didn't celebrate extravagantly. He invested, with discipline and precision, into the city's infrastructure. Port Rashid, a deep-water commercial harbor, launched in 1967 and made Dubai a serious node in global shipping. The Maktoum Bridge, opened in 1963, linked the two banks of Dubai Creek, connecting the Dera and Bur Dubai districts. Dubai International Airport was expanded to welcome international passengers. Housing projects replaced crumbling shelters with concrete homes. Schools opened for girls as well as boys. Modern maternity hospitals saved lives that previously would have been lost. He was building a platform. What arrived on that platform would define everything that followed. Part 2. Building the Vision. The year 1971 carried enormous historical weight for the entire region. The British were withdrawing from the Gulf. The group of territories they had overseen for generations, known as the Trucial States, was suddenly without a protector. Sheikh Rashid of Dubai and Sheikh Zayed of Abu Dhabi held many private conversations during this uncertain moment. Their conclusion was clear. Separated, these small territories would be vulnerable. Unified, they could become something remarkable. On December 2, 1971, 7 Emirates agreed to merge. The United Arab Emirates was born. Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ayman, Amal Quain, Fujairah, and Ras Al Khaimah, which joined in early 1972. Abu Dhabi became the capital. Dubai became the commercial heartbeat. The arrangement divided strengths intelligently. Sheikh Zayed channeled Abu Dhabi's substantial oil revenues into national development. Sheikh Rashid focused Dubai's energies on building an economy that would not depend on oil, one that could endure long after the wells ran dry. Together they planned connecting highways between the Emirates, pooled resources, and committed to opening their young nation to the global community. Then Sheikh Rashid made his most audacious move. 35 kilometers from central Dubai, in what was essentially uninhabited desert, he announced the construction of Jebel Ali Port. Critics were blunt. Why build a massive port in the middle of nowhere? Ships won't bother coming all this way. He replied with characteristic calm. We are not building for this moment. We are building for the next 50 years. Jebel Ali became the largest man-made harbor ever created. Connected to a sprawling free industrial zone, it drew container ships from across the globe, allowed factories to operate without tax burdens, and enabled products assembled in Dubai to reach every corner of the world. Thousands of jobs materialized. Billions in trade flowed through. The foundations of Dubai's logistics empire were laid in the desert dust. In 1985, a new revolution took shape. Sheikh Rashid's son, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, stepped forward with an idea that sounded almost reckless at the time. What if foreign companies could own their operations here, 100%, completely tax-free, inside specially designated areas? The Jebel Ali Free Zone Authority, JAFZA, became the first free trade zone in the UAE. No corporate taxes. No import or export duties. Full foreign ownership. Visa processing streamlined. World-class physical infrastructure. The response from global business was immediate and overwhelming. Pepsi, Nestle, Samsung, LG, Sony, Unilever. They came, they invested, they stayed. Dubai rapidly became the recognized business capital of the Middle East. That same year, 1985, Sheikh Mohammed announced the creation of Emirates Airlines. 2 aircraft. That was the entire fleet. The ridicule was predictable. You're launching an airline with 2 planes? But the approach was principled from the start. The airline would receive no government subsidies to mask inefficiency. It had to earn its place in the market through genuine quality. Better meals. More comfortable seats. Superior service at every stage of the passenger journey. Within years, Emirates was flying routes to London, Mumbai, Cairo, and dozens of other cities. By the 1990s, it had become one of the most respected airlines on Earth, pouring millions of international visitors through Dubai annually. While neighboring states maintained cautious, closed postures toward tourism, Dubai threw its doors wide open. Beach resorts and luxury hotels rose along the coastline. The Dubai Shopping Festival was introduced, drawing bargain hunters and luxury shoppers simultaneously. Old souks were renovated and modernized. Desert safaris, dhow cruises, and high-end hospitality packages were packaged and marketed to the world. The city promoted itself as a place where ancient Arabian atmosphere coexisted with contemporary luxury. Tourists arrived. First in thousands, then in millions. They came for the weather, the shopping, the safety, the architecture, the food, the beaches, the novelty. And they kept coming back. The 1990s also brought Dubai into the digital age ahead of its neighbors. A modern telecommunications network took shape. Internet connections and mobile phones spread quickly. ATMs, card payment systems, and online services became commonplace before they did in most comparable cities. Dubai wasn't simply modern in its skyline, it was modern in its thinking and its systems. Before the turn of the millennium, organized, master-planned communities were emerging. New highways threaded between districts. Shopping centers like Dera City Center became social anchors. A massive foreign labor force, workers recruited from India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Bangladesh, and beyond, was building everything at a pace that astonished outside observers. Dubai was growing fast, and it was doing so with discipline. What separated Dubai from every other Gulf nation during this period? While others relied almost entirely on oil revenues and waited for the market to provide, Dubai built ports, airports, and free zones. Dubai started a global airline from scratch. Dubai promoted itself as a tourism and hospitality destination. Dubai made it straightforward for foreign companies to plant their flags here. Dubai focused on commerce, movement, and exchange rather than extraction alone. That singular strategic choice, to build beyond oil, changed the trajectory of the city permanently. Part 3. The Golden Era. By the early 2000s, Dubai had already climbed to remarkable heights. It operated one of the world's busiest cargo ports. Its airport was one of the fastest growing in international aviation. Emirates Airlines was a global brand. Its government was business-friendly and predictable. Its international reputation was one of safety, organization, and aspiration. And Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, who formally assumed leadership of Dubai in 2006, carried a vision that dwarfed even these achievements. "We are not competing with our neighbors," he said. "We are competing with the world." What followed was a decade of construction that rewrote what cities are capable of. The Burj Khalifa had its origins in the early 2000s. Dubai wanted a landmark so extraordinary that the image of it would be permanently embedded in the world's visual memory. Something so tall it would seem to press against the edge of the sky itself. Construction began in 2004 under its original name, Burj Dubai. Over 12,000 workers from more than 100 different countries worked in shifts around the clock. The project consumed over 330,000 cubic meters of concrete and nearly 39,000 tons of structural steel. American architect Adrian Smith designed it to resist wind speeds of up to 240 kilometers per hour and absorb seismic shocks. In January 2010, the tower was inaugurated, renamed Burj Khalifa in recognition of the financial support extended by Abu Dhabi's president, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed, during the 2009 financial crisis. Height: 828 meters. 163 floors. An Armani-designed hotel within its lower levels. Residential apartments. Corporate floors. The highest observation deck ever constructed. Elevators that travel at 10 meters per second. The tallest human-made structure in recorded history. The Burj Khalifa became more than architecture. It became a statement of intent. A three-dimensional answer to the question, what are you willing to build if you believe anything is possible? Next came the Palm Jumeirah, one of the most audacious acts of civil engineering the world has ever witnessed. The concept was to construct an artificial island in the shape of a palm tree, extending directly into the Persian Gulf. Launched in 2001 and substantially completed by 2006, the project consumed 5.5 million cubic meters of rock. Visible from orbital altitude, the palm features 16 fronds radiating from a central trunk, all enclosed by a protective crescent. It houses luxury villas, five-star hotels including the iconic Atlantis the Palm, restaurants, private beaches, and retail centers. The driving logic behind it was elegant. Dubai had limited natural coastline, and the leadership wanted more seafront property. Rather than accepting that constraint, they manufactured more coastline. They didn't wish for more, they built more. Today, the Palm is home to celebrities, global billionaires, and permanent luxury tourists from every corner of the world. Dubai Mall opened in 2008, positioned at the base of the Burj Khalifa. By total area, it is the largest mall on Earth. Over 1,200 shops. An indoor aquarium housing sharks and manta rays. A full-size ice rink. A virtual reality park. And the Dubai Fountain, the world's largest choreographed water feature. More than 80 million visitors arrive each year, more than any other single destination on the planet. Dubai Mall is not a shopping center. It is a city folded inside a building. This positioned Dubai firmly as the global capital of retail. The Dubai Metro opened in 2009 as the Arab world's first fully driverless rail system. Clean lines, air-conditioned station bridges, smart card ticketing, efficient connections between the city's major commercial and cultural zones. For the first time, both residents and tourists could move across Dubai without requiring a car. Then came the real estate revolution. In 2002, Dubai passed legislation granting foreigners the right to purchase property. The effect was almost immediate and overwhelming. Buyers flooded in from the UK, Russia, India, China, Pakistan, and across Europe. Developers launched massive projects: Downtown Dubai, Dubai Marina, Jumeirah Lakes Towers, Business Bay, Jumeirah Village Circle. Arabian Ranches. Cranes rose from every district. Skyscrapers multiplied. The city grew faster than anywhere else on Earth. Then 2008 arrived. The global financial system fractured. Real estate values across Dubai dropped by 50 to 60%. Projects were suspended in mid-construction. Investors fled. Some development companies folded entirely. It was the most serious financial crisis Dubai had ever confronted. Sheikh Mohammed refused to panic. Abu Dhabi provided a $10 billion assistance package, and in recognition of that gesture, Burj Dubai was formally renamed Burj Khalifa. The government restructured debts, merged struggling entities, shielded critical projects, and maintained Dubai's global image with visible confidence. By 2010, recovery was underway. Dubai emerged leaner, more pragmatic, and more strategically focused than before. In 2013, Dubai made a move that the world was watching. It placed a bid to host Expo 2020, which, if successful, would be the first world exposition ever held in the Arab world. On November 27, 2013, the announcement came. Dubai had won. Fireworks lit up the Burj Khalifa. The entire country erupted in celebration. Because it wasn't just about hosting an event. It was proof to the world that Dubai had evolved from a trading hub into a legitimate platform for global conversation about the future. The Expo commitment: 190 countries, 25 million projected visitors, dedicated pavilions around the themes of mobility, sustainability, and opportunity, signaled that Dubai intended to be taken seriously as a city shaping tomorrow, not merely reflecting it. And the technology era accelerated. By 2015, Dubai's ambitions had outgrown conventional metrics. Smart city frameworks, artificial intelligence applications across government services, a national blockchain strategy, flying taxis tested in public skies by 2017, robotic police officers, fully digital visa processing, healthcare registration, and business licensing. Simultaneously, Ferrari police cars were becoming routine in the city's streets. Gold dispensing ATMs appeared in shopping malls. The world's first, and still only, 7-star hotel, Burj Al Arab, continued drawing wealth from every continent. A constant calendar of international events, award ceremonies, exhibitions, and elite sporting competitions reinforced Dubai's image as the world's luxury destination. Part 4. The future that has no ceiling. By 2015, Dubai's identity had crystallized. It was the undisputed tourism capital of the Middle East. It was a global headquarters for international business. It was a city that made wealthy people feel at home and made aspirational people feel inspired. Then the world was interrupted. A virus that no scientific model had fully anticipated spread across the planet in early 2020. Airports went dark. Borders sealed. Economies that had hummed for decades suddenly seized. Cities that had never experienced silence became quiet overnight. For Dubai, a city whose entire operating model was built on people arriving from everywhere, the danger was acute. Hotels sat empty. Flights were grounded. And Expo 2020, the largest undertaking in the city's recent history, was suddenly facing postponement. Dubai's response was methodical and fast. Citywide lockdowns were declared early. Automated sanitization convoys cleaned streets around the clock. Police drones monitored public movement. Thermal scanning was deployed at transport hubs. Smartphone applications enabled contact tracing. Government-run quarantine facilities and food assistance programs were organized for low-income workers. Vaccination followed at a pace that surprised the world. The UAE became one of the first countries globally to begin mass vaccination, and Dubai vaccinated not only its citizens but expatriates and migrant workers, free of charge. Within months, vaccination rates reached levels that most wealthy nations had not yet matched. Every government service moved online. Business permits, healthcare appointments, visa renewals, shopping and essential deliveries. The city became contactless almost entirely. And then, while most countries were still managing their worst waves of infection, Dubai reopened to international tourism, cautiously, with mandatory testing protocols, but genuinely open. Celebrities and global travelers who found their own countries locked down discovered that Dubai was a functioning destination. They came in significant numbers. Expo 2020, delayed by 12 months and ultimately staged from October 2021 to March 2022, became one of the most successful world fairs in recent memory. 192 countries participated. The sprawling site in Dubai South featured the Al Wasl Dome, the largest 360-degree projection dome ever built. Mobility pavilions showcased drones, Hyperloop concepts, and autonomous transport. The Sustainability Pavilion ran entirely on renewable energy and recycled water. Country pavilions demonstrated architectural creativity and national narratives. Over 24 million people visited during the 6 months of operation. Dubai had hosted the world's largest post-pandemic gathering, and in doing so, delivered a message without ambiguity. Even when the circumstances are hardest, we find a way to rise. The project list that Dubai is currently advancing reads like something from a science fiction catalog, except that the funding is real and the groundbreaking has, in many cases, already happened. The Dubai Creek Tower, when completed, is planned to surpass the Burj Khalifa in height. Designed by architect Santiago Calatrava, it will stand in the Dubai Creek Harbor development, symbolizing the city's next era of ambition. The Dubai Urban Master Plan 2040, announced in 2021, is a comprehensive long-term strategy to transform Dubai into the most livable city on Earth. The plan dedicates 60% of Dubai's total land area to green and natural space. It prioritizes walkable neighborhoods, expanded public beaches, affordable housing, and growth corridors designed for artists, educators, researchers, and entrepreneurs. In parallel, Dubai has been quietly building an infrastructure of artificial intelligence smart homes, autonomous flying taxi networks, and a proposed Hyperloop corridor linking Dubai and Abu Dhabi in under 15 minutes. Then there is Moon Dubai, a proposed $5 billion resort development designed to replicate the visual and experiential qualities of a lunar environment. A 4,000-room hotel, residential units, an astronaut training facility, a simulated moonscape where visitors can experience low-gravity style movement. It targets space tourism, luxury hospitality, and the imagination of an entire generation. And Dubai's gaze has moved beyond Earth entirely. The Hope probe, launched in July 2020, reached Mars orbit in February 2021, making the UAE the first Arab nation, and only the 5th entity in history, to reach Mars. Plans are advancing for a Mars Science City, a large-scale simulated Martian habitat built in the desert for research and training purposes, preparing for the practical and psychological challenges of deep space travel. Dubai's ambition has a pattern. It once said, "We'll build the world's tallest building." Done. "We'll build an island in the sea." Done. "We'll create a city within a mall." Done. Now it says, "We are going to space." To attract the human capital necessary for this future, Dubai launched the Golden Visa program. Residency permits of 5 to 10 years, renewable, offered to skilled professionals, investors, scientists, artists, and entrepreneurs from anywhere in the world. No anxiety about visa expiry. No uncertainty about legal status. Just the freedom to build a life. This drew digital nomads, technology company founders, billionaires restructuring their affairs, medical professionals, academic researchers, YouTube creators, fitness influencers, educators. Dubai became, perhaps, the most internationally diverse urban environment in human history. More than 200 nationalities living alongside one another, with a crime rate among the lowest anywhere, and a quality of daily infrastructure that most global cities cannot match. No income tax. Consistent rule of law. An almost obsessive focus on cleanliness, safety, and efficiency. Dubai is no longer simply a city with impressive buildings. It is a brand. It sells an idea, the idea that dreams can be constructed, that limitations are negotiable, that the future belongs to those willing to build it rather than merely inherit it. Now step back and look at the arc of this story. This was a place made of sand and heat. Its people slept beneath palm fronds and carried water in clay pots. They had no infrastructure, no natural resources, no inherited wealth, and no guarantee of survival. What they had was a creek, a trading instinct, and eventually, leaders who refused to be defined by their present circumstances. Through decisive leadership and an almost architectural quality of long-term thinking, through massive risks taken on empty treasuries, through failures absorbed and converted into adaptations, Dubai became one of the most consequential cities in human civilization. This is not a story about glass towers. It is a story about the decision to believe in something before any evidence exists to justify that belief. About building when there is no money. About rising when the world confidently expects failure. Dubai teaches a lesson that applies everywhere and to everyone. Your origin does not determine your destination. Start with whatever you have, but aim for something no one near you has yet imagined. Invest in people, in education, in health, in dignity, before you invest in structures. Growth that lasts is growth that begins with human beings. Prepare the ground before the harvest arrives. Dubai built airports and ports and legal frameworks before the global business community decided to take it seriously. When opportunity appeared, Dubai was already ready. Do not copy the path of others. Surprise them instead. Dubai did not model itself on New York or London. It invented itself. You don't have to follow any existing map. Think 50 years ahead. Not 5. Not 10. 50. The decisions that look wasteful or eccentric today often turn out to be the ones that define a generation. When crisis arrives, and it always does, your only real choice is whether to fracture or adapt. Dubai lost its pearls. It lost half its real estate value. It lost a year of the expo it had spent nearly a decade preparing for. Every time it adapted. Every time, it returned stronger. And remember, no city, no company, no achievement of consequence is built by one person. From the ruler to the construction worker living in a labor camp, every hand that lifted Dubai's skyline was part of the same effort. Respect every contributor. If Dubai could rise from a shoreline of pure sand to the skyline it carries today, then wherever you are, whatever you're carrying, your own transformation remains possible. If a desert could become a destination, then whatever feels impossible in your life right now is worth one more attempt. Build the thing. One layer at a time. 1 year at a time. One decision at a time. Because even the desert, given enough vision and enough will, can bloom.